Good morning, children. Welcome back to our math session. Today we are introducing a new chapter, that is chapter number 5, data handling. So today's topic is introduction part 1. In this part we are introducing all the topics that is related with this lesson. Okay, so let me start. So here we are introducing our new chapter, that is chapter number 5, data handling. Topics to be covered in this lesson are introduction, representing data, graphs, pictograph, bar graph, double bar graph, histogram, circle graph या pie chart, frequency distribution table, drawing circle graph या pie chart, and probability. So let me start with the introduction part. Okay. So let me start with our first topic, that is introduction. Let's say your class teacher wants to analyze how is the attendance of your class, how many students are coming and attending the class. So in order to do that, what will she need to do? She will need to find out how many students are present and absent on each of the days in a week, right? If we assume that she wants to analyze the data for a week, so in that case, she might collecting a data like this for all the 5 days of the week. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Right? And let's say the data which she has is, let's P for present and A for absent. On Monday, there were 90 students were present and 10 were absent. Let's assume that the total strength of the class is 100. Means total number of students in the class will be 100 there. On Tuesday, let's say 92 were present and 8 were absent. On Wednesday, 95 were present and 5 are absent. Similarly, on Thursday and Friday, 91 are present and 9 were absent. So, this is the data that she has for a week. Now, since this is about a week, so the data is small. You just have 5 sets of data. Now let's say the teacher wants to analyze the attendance of the class for 6 months. So just imagine how much data she will have. She have like a big data, a huge number of data, right? Now analyzing from those data might be difficult. So what will she do? So in such cases, they are easier way to represent data. There are easier way to analyze data. For example, let's see, you have the same thing, the same data. Now, instead of writing the things in the form of a table, what do is you draw a graph like this. Now we will learn as we go ahead how do we draw a graph and why do we draw a graph. That here this slide will tell you how drawing a graph makes things easier for you to understand. Clear? Let's say now you have a graph where this vertical axis will represent the attendance and the horizontal axis represents the days. Okay. So now let's say this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is for Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and so on. And here what represent? You represent the attendance, that means the number of students present on that day. So let's say the kind of graph that for Monday is something like this. For Tuesday, slightly bigger than Monday. For Wednesday, again slightly bigger than Tuesday. For Thursday, it's again falls back, something like this. And Friday again remains the same like as Thursday. So these bars which you see, that the bars which we have drawn for each day, then looking at the height, you can analyze, or just looking at this picture, you can immediately say that the attendance was highest on Wednesday and it was the lowest on Monday. just like looking at the height of the bar, right? Now you tell me which one seems to be easier in the first one. Actually, you need to look at the data for each of the row, and then you have to analyze which is the minimum, yeah, which is the maximum. And here in graph, you just into have a look at the picture and looking at the height of the bars, you can say which is the minimum and which is the maximum. So representing data in the form of graph makes it easier to understand, easier to analyze and interpret, and that is why we talk about graphs, isn't it? Now, in this lesson, data handling, we are not only means not make a talk only about a graph. We are going to talk about various techniques that are used to handle data. Because when we talk about the data here, what is data? Here on this screen, the numbers 90, 92, 95, 91, these all are nothing but this is our data, isn't it? Now when you have a huge amount of data, managing the data in a proper manner is very important. Otherwise what will happen? You might lose data, and data is important one. That is why we want them, isn't it? So here we will understand what are the various ways by which we can represent data in the best possible way. We can store data in the best possible way, and we can interpret facts based on the data here, isn't it clear? So that is why we are using graph. So in this lesson we are going to study about bar graphs and different kinds of graphs also. Okay, let's see our next point, that is organizing data. Yeah, representing data. Okay, now let's say that we want to do a comparative analysis on the score of students in a school for 10 years. So now you see the situation is not simple. It's more complicated, right? Why? Because here somebody, let's say that the external inspector who has come to your school and he wants to know that how good the education is going on in your school. So for that, you want to analyze the score of students of the entire school. Now, he does it for the entire school. The entire school has huge number of students. Let's say that the entire school has some 2000 students, because it have students from class 1 to 12. So they will be huge number of students, right? Secondly, they want to analyze the result for 10 years, because they don't want to rely on the data of 1 year, because maybe in 2018 the children performed really well, but in 2017, 16, 15, 14 and so on they were performed really bad. So they do not want to rely on the want to rely on the data for 1 year. Instead of that, they want to analyze the score for 10 years. So now just imagine how much data will be there. This data will actually consist of the score of all the students who have passed out from the school, isn't it? In the last 10 years, right? And now from all those data, you have to find out some average score for every year. So maybe let's say, let's think of in this way, every year starting from 2009, then 2010, then 11, 12, and so on, finally till 2018. So for every year, you will have to find out the average score from where you will get the average score, looking at the score of all the students for that particular year. So in 2009, all those 2000 students might have scored something. Somebody would have 40, somebody would have scored 60, somebody would have scored even 90 also. So an average of all of these might give you the average score of 50 percentage. For 2010, it might be 55 percentage. Like as 2011, it might be 69 and so on. So this is how you will again get a table of the year and the average score of that school, right? Now again, when you look at this data, even there will be some 10 rows here because you will see this for 10 years from 2009 till 2018. Again, a huge number of data, right? Instead of representing it like this, you draw a graph where again the vertical axis you represent the score and the horizontal axis you can represent years. Let's see, for every year you mark the points corresponding to the score. That is 2009 you have a score of 50. Similarly, next is 55, then it is 69, then it might be dropped in 2012. Again, it might increase in 2013, even increase in 2014, and so on. Now, join these points, you get a graph like this. Now, looking at this graph, how can you say, means you can say that in last 10 years, the overall performance or the overall score of the school is gradually increasing. Isn't it? That what you can say looking at this graph, right? Even though it is dropped in between, but overall it is growing up, right? So the quality of education that is being provided in the school is pretty good, isn't it? So these are all different kinds of things that we do with the data, right? And that is why we need data. That is important to handle data. So here we are going to discuss all about data handling. Okay. So before we go further, let's first understand very clearly what data is. Data is nothing but a collection of facts or statistics. Or these facts could be anything. It not only about students' score or their attendance. So these facts which we refer as data could be any fact or it could be any statistics. Or for example, when you look at the scores of the students in a class. Now, what is that? That is nothing but a data. Let's see here. We see a table that have the names of the students and their score. So the names of the student and their respective scores, and you can see that Akash scored 75, Amit scored 45, then Dekha 70, Anu 70, then Rana 42, and so on. And what is this? This is nothing but a data, isn't it? Because this gives the facts, this give you the information of the entire class. Note, it is not only about the number of students of the class, students score, you think of anything which gives some information like the population of the country, it could be the sale in a shop, it could be anything. So the collection of information in the form of facts or statistics is known as data. Clear? Now, why do we talk about this type, means why do we talking about this data? Now I just see here in this entire class there are some 100 200 students. Now when you have such a long list, managing that data or interpreting out of that data becomes difficult, isn't it? So that is when we are talking about organizing data. So we try to organize the data in such a way that in is more readable. It becomes more understandable. Now I will give you a small example. Now this sum table can also be organized like this. Instead of having some hundreds, 200 scores, telling the score of each student, we can also organize this data in this way, that the number of students who score less than 50, that is 2. Number of students who score between 50 to 70 is 5. The number of students whose score is more than 70 is 3. Now, this data is looking at the table which I have shown here. Now, when you look at this organized data, this actually helps you to understand the performance of the class, that most of the students have scored more than 50. You see, only two students scored less than 50, isn't it? Rest all of them are scored more than 50. So you get an idea about the performance of the entire class. So this is how an organized data helps, because it helps us to understand the things better. And that is why we talk of grouping data, we talk of organizing data, we talk of representing data in graph, in pie chart, etc. Clear? So when it comes to organizing data, as I said that this organized form of data gives us a better idea, and looking at this data, you can very easily interpret what's happening in the class. Isn't it? So that is why we are making a data in an organized way, yeah, in a analyzed way, yeah, in a representing data in a systematic way. Clear? Next point is graph, representing a data using graph. So first one is pictographs. We know that so many types of graphs are there, isn't it? So first one we are introducing pictograph. Let's see. In the previous slide, we already seen that the data has been represented in a form of tables. So the more number of data you have, then the table becomes larger, isn't it? Then it is unmanageable after a certain time, right? So we need better ways, better techniques to represent the data. So the first technique that we use is pictograph. Picto, the word derived from pictures. So we make use of pictures to represent a data. So pictorial representation of data with pictures. See, how do we do that? Let's say that in a class of 500 students, the teacher asked the favorite fruits to each kid. Which is your favorite fruit? That is the question which is being asked by the teacher to a class of 500 students. Okay? And the response that the teacher received were something like this. The teacher found that the class consists of 500 students, and it was found that 50 of them liked apple. So they said that their favorite fruit was apple. 100 of them said that their favorite fruit was mango. 250 of them said that their favorite fruit was grapes. And the remaining 100 they choose oranges. So this was the response that get out of the class of 500 students. Okay. So this is the data we have. So how do we represent this data with pictures? So what we'll assume is, we say that, let us say that 50 kids are represented with one symbol. Let's say the number 50 represented this symbol like as a child. So one kid means the picture of the one symbol represent 50 students. So that pictograph would look something like this. Apple is being liked by how many kids? 50 kids, because this one picture represent 50. So that is the convention that we are follow. Because if we start drawing 50 kids, that take a huge time, isn't it? So in order to save time, what we do, we draw one kid and we say, let one kid represent 50. Now when it's a time for mango, what happens? Mango is liked by 100 kids. That means two 50s. So two kids drawn, that would mean 50 plus 50, that is 100. Similarly, it comes to grapes. 250 kids like grapes, isn't it? So how many kids will you draw? So you will actually draw 5 kids. Similarly for orange, it would be again 2 kids because it's a 100, isn't it? So this is how data is representing with a pictograph. Now you tell me, when you look at this data, it looks kind of this data, you just focus on the numbers. When you have to focus on numbers only, time it happens, instead of 1000 you read it as 100, isn't it? Maybe it is given in the numerical form, then it means it will come numerically mistake, isn't it? So but when it is in terms of pictures, you actually, let's see the pictures, you just for looking of the picture from the table, you can analyze which is having the maximum and which is having the minimum. So this is how a data is representing with the pictures, and this kind of a graph is called as pictograph. So it is not like the huge graph that we see as x-axis and y-axis. It is representing with the pictures which given the name of pictograph. Clear? So let us take another example of pictograph. See here, let's assume that we have a class is of a group of 100 students, and here we have asked the students to choose their favorite subjects. Now they have been given options of maths, physics and chemistry, and they have to decide out of these three subjects which is the one that they like the most, like the most. And let's see that maths is being liked by these three kids. So what does that means? How many students like maths? 300, of course, because one kid represents 100 students. As you can very clearly see here, one kid is 100, so three kids means 300. That means maths is liked by 300 kids, isn't it? Physics is liked by 200 students. Chemistry is liked by 500 students because you have 5 kids here, isn't it? Now, looking at this pictograph, if I ask some questions like which subject is liked by most of the students, quickly, even without knowing whether maths is liked 300, physics by 200, and chemistry by 500, just looking at the pictograph, you can very quickly see that chemistry is the subject which is liked by most of the students, isn't it? So that is because you can see more number of pictures for chemistry, which means chemistry is liked by most of them. Similarly, if I specifically ask you how many students like physics, so again here just looking at the two kids, you can make quickly say that 200 kids like physics. So these kind of pictograph, they have pictures. You do not any need to write a lot of content to explain what the pictograph depicts, isn't it? Just looking at the pictograph, you can analyze what it represents. So it is very easy to analyze a data. So that is why we are introducing pictograph. But the data, the collection of data is in huge number. Means, for example, if it is coming in lakh, if it is coming in 10,000 and more, so then that time this pictograph is not applicable for using as a data, isn't it? Then that time we will represent the data. We are representing the data using another form of graph. So that is next we are going to study as bar graph. Clear? We already discussed about pictograph very clearly in last slide, isn't it? Now here you can see one question that is given in your textbook, page number 69. One pictograph is given. Then see what is a pictograph? Pictorial representation of data using symbols. That is called a pictograph, isn't it? So here the symbol is given as a car. One car that represents 100 cars. Okay. So here the production of car in a company that is given here in July, two cars are given and half of one car is given. That half means 50, 100, half of 100, that is equal to 50. And in August, 3 cars, means 3 symbols are given. In September, 4 cars are there, isn't it? So it means in July, what was the production? That is 250 cars. In August, 300 cars. In September, 400 cars, isn't it? Now down you can see some questions are asked there. So what is the question? Let's see. First question is, how many cars were produced in the month of July? How many cars were produced? There were 250 cars were produced in the month of July. Now one more question is there. In which month were maximum number of cars produced? In September, isn't it? In September, maximum number of cars produced. How much? That is 400. 4 cars are there. 1 car is equal to 100. So 4 car is equal to 4 into 100. That is equal to 400. So in September, maximum number of cars were produced. Okay. This session we are winding up here. Okay. So thank you.